Very good evening, and thanks for clicking on to Vogan's European Outlook for Wednesday, the 19th of April. Hope everybody is enjoying their day so far. These were the temperatures yesterday afternoon, and 18 degrees at Aviemore. The reason why I'm pinpointing Aviemore in particular is these were the overnight minimum temperatures this morning. So we dropped all the way down to minus 3.9, so basically minus 4 as after a high of 18 yesterday. And it's all thanks to high pressure, bang, slap overhead. We're seeing the strong warming during the day, but we're equally seeing the rapid overnight cooling, despite the fact that the nights are becoming much shorter. Indeed, we're seeing daylight starting to appear the back of 4 in the morning there at this time of the year, and of course the daylight is sticking around till back at 9 at night. So nights are fairly short, but of course, with a very, very dry air mass in place, light winds and clear skies, we'll see this big fluctuation in temperature. Even at the house here, I recorded 20.2 yesterday afternoon. The temperature dropped to 0.1 Celsius this morning, so a pretty impressive range in temperature, that's for sure, across particularly the northern half of the British Isles, where we've had lighter winds near the centre of high pressure. But it was considerably cooler today, I must admit. Winds fresher, actually quite strong out of the southeast, and that has been allowing the air mass to cool slightly. We've actually been seeing the air at 850 start to kind of cool somewhat. So when you're driving that air in off the ocean, we're not seeing just quite as pronounced warming to the lee of the Grampians in the Northwest Highlands, where temperatures have managed to hit 21 Celsius in the last couple of days. I believe it was 20 yesterday was the official highest temperature in the UK. Aknagart was just shy of 20 as well, I think. But certainly on the East Coast, 9, 10, 11 Celsius. Factor in a brisk wind coming in off those cold North Sea waters. It certainly didn't feel that way. Very chilly, of course, across southern areas of the British Isles, and even inland areas, we were seeing temperatures pretty subdued in the low teens, below average for the time of the year. These are the current winds as per the MJO website here. You can see this is in kilometers per hour, of course, and you can see here we've got some fairly windy conditions in excess of 50 kilometers per hour. Down across a large swathe of the British Isles, southern areas, of course, but across the board, we're ranging from upper 40s to low 50s. So you can see here the reason for that chilly feel. Of course, if you only have to look at the sea surface temperatures at this time of the year and see why it is so chilly, especially in exposure on that east coast, water temperatures only 7 to 8 Celsius, as you can see here. So like I've said before, you draw that air crossing this water, the air mass reflects those water temperatures of 7, 8, 9 Celsius. Maybe a notch up on what the sea surface temperature actually is, just simply because of the strength of the sun at this time of the year. It's actually now August level, believe it or not, in terms of sun strength. So that is another good reason to use that sunscreen, because even though the air temperature may only be 12, 13 Celsius, the strength of the sun now is deceiving, and you can still get burnt, especially in windy conditions as well. It's very, very deceiving indeed at this time of the year. But like I said, a good bit cooler compared to yesterday here at the house, 14.2 Celsius, as you can see here. Winds a little bit variable, but generally in a kind of east to southeast direction, which means that the winds are coming in up through the Cromarty Firth and onshore. So much cooler conditions compared to yesterday, that's for sure, the day before. But we do have those brisk winds coming in underneath that area of high pressure, strong at that over the Northern Isles and Scandinavia. And you can see here, this is the GFS peak wind gusts according to the model. So lighter winds across the north of the UK during last night, hence why we've seen the temperatures coming down. But as we've progressed through the course of today, those winds have strengthened, as you can see, as per the model, blowing pretty strong actually through the channel. As you can see here, over the Irish Sea, we've had some pretty strong gust of wind as well, making it feel distinctly chilly up that east coast of Northern Ireland and Ireland. And you can actually see the model indicating some fairly strong winds to the lee of the Cambrian Mountains of Wales here. So we've got actually winds accelerating as they cross over the Cambrian Mountains and then descend down towards the coast. And therefore, you could actually start to see that Fern effect taking place along the west coast here. So warmer temperatures on the west coast as opposed to the east, as you can see here. But yeah, not a particularly warm day, 15, 16 Celsius, warmer than it was yesterday, of course, down here in the south of the UK here. Certainly it was a very chilly day yesterday. But the air mass itself is starting to turn a little bit cooler within the column, and hence why those daytime temperatures are just simply not quite as warm as they were. So you can see here, these are the 850 temperatures. We are slightly cooling that 850 level, and then therefore it's reflected in the surface temperatures through the course of today. And of course, with the stronger easterly wind, we're seeing less warm temperatures. But you can see this area of chilly air riding underneath this area of high pressure to the north, and therefore we are going to see some fairly cool days Thursday, Friday, and into the early portion of the weekend. This little lobe of chilly air is going to be reflective in the afternoon temperatures. Now, if we look at the overview chart, what we have is we've actually got an area of low pressure that is, we'll go back to the current setup here and we'll play it through the loop here. So with this area of disturbed weather riding that easterly flow, you see the squeezing isobars, hence why we've got such brisk winds coming in from the east. This area of low pressure here well to the south, and you can see as we play through the loop, that area of low pressure becomes quite a deep little feature, quite a compact area of low pressure, but it's got nowhere to go because it is pushed south, suppressed by that high, that dominant area of high pressure to the north of the UK. But keeping our eyes quite closely fixed on this little feature here, it develops an area of low pressure. Notice here some wintry precipitation in southwestern Germany, possibly edging into Belgium. That's quite interesting, actually, given the fact that it's 12 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Shows you how chilly that air mass actually is. And then as we progress later into tomorrow and into Friday, should I say, sorry, you notice here this little feature develops and then brings an area of rain across portions of the Midlands into Wales as well, mid and north Wales it looks like. And then we've got an area of disturbed weather. So cloudy conditions, breezy conditions, 850 temperatures are fairly cold, so it's a fairly cool air mass overall. And let's have a look and see what the temperatures are reflecting down at the surface for 1500 on Friday afternoon, because I bet your bottom dollar it is going to be a fairly chilly day, that's for sure. So let's have a look at the 850 or 2 meter temperatures, sorry, for Thursday and Friday here. So we'll play through the loop. You can see that the temperatures drop off during the overnight tonight. The breeze is probably going to be enough to stop the temperature from dropping the frost levels. Then we've got the temperature bouncing up towards 12, 13 Celsius. Warmer once again in the west as opposed to the east coast. Then we'll see the temperatures dropping off once again during the early hours of Friday morning. Possible glens may see some frost in isolated areas. Then as we progress through the course of Friday, so this is 12 o'clock, and then this is 1500 on Friday. While we've got temperatures 11, 12, possibly up to upwards of 15 Celsius across the Northwest Highlands, once again across parts of Northern Ireland, southeastern Ireland and England and Wales, we could see temperatures stuck 8, 9 Celsius at best on Friday afternoon. So that is a fairly cold air mass indeed. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly chart here, if I can find it, that is, and see what that is compared to average. And I don't think I'm able to bring it up, unfortunately. We'll go back to the northwest view here, because I think it only allows you to look at the 2 meter temperature anomalies with certain charts. But it'll be interesting to see actually how cold compared to average these air temperatures are. If it's going to refresh, that is, it may not play ball. We'll have a quick look. Why are we seeing this at the moment here, it's actually all about the Manjulian oscillation. We're in the same phase that we were in that delivered the cold during the month of December. A strong phase 8 of the Manjulian oscillation dictates blocking, especially up towards Scandinavia. And this is a tweet by James Peacock based down in Hampshire. An active MJO in the West Pacific is likely also playing a role. Sea level pressure anomalies composites show support for a warm high setup the first week, followed by a much cooler pattern in the second week. With a warm high, it probably would still have turned colder next week, but not swiftly. Now, if we look at the chart here, this is the probability of mean sea level pressure. I think this is off the ECMWF, but I could be mistaken. I'm trying to find out the source of the model. This is off Met Swift, I believe. You can see here in the upcoming 6-day period, we've got this high generally to the north, so we've got cooler and more unsettled conditions suppressed to the south. But you notice here in the 7 to 13 day, you notice here that the high pressure shifts up towards Greenland. We'll have a cooler air mass in place. So it's reflective of the Manjulian oscillation, as well as, I believe, that hangover from the major southern stratospheric warming. We'll have a look at next week in just a second, because that's quite important with regards to the overall setup. So you can see here, this is the anomaly chart here, and we have got 4 Celsius below average on at 12 o'clock on Friday, a warmer than average across the northern half of the British Isles. Something similar to what we've seen over the course of this week so far, but maybe a little bit more pronounced. That little feature moving in across the bulk of England and Wales during Friday is going to make it feel distinctly chilly out there for the time of year. Look at how warm Scandinavia is compared to average, upwards of a widespread 8 Celsius above average, thanks to that area of high pressure, of course, to the north. I also believe that Helsinki has not recorded a single day of rain during the month of April so far, and I believe that is a record breaker according to one source on Twitter. I'll actually try and find that tweet there, because it is quite interesting to say. Mika Rantanen, I think is how you pronounce it. The April dryness in Finland continues. Helsinki hasn't got measurable rain for 3 weeks. Daily precipitation observations are available since 1845. This is the first time in history when the period between the 1st and the 17th of April is completely rainless, and it's all thanks to that area of high pressure that has been so dominant across the northern half of Europe here. So certainly quite interesting stuff indeed. Are we going to see much in the way of precipitation? And this is starting to go very, very nicely to the overall ideas that I've had for the month of April. A drier than average April versus the very wet March, which was, of course, the wettest since 1981 for England, and also temperatures close to average overall. And you can see here the upcoming 7-day period, we've got the wettest conditions across the southeast corner, a slightly unusual area to have wetter than average. And of course, thanks to the area of high pressure in the north, we've got drier than average conditions across the north of the UK, drier than average across Iberia, drier than average across most of Europe, with the exceptions of the southeast. You can see here it's kind of close to average week 2. So this takes the period between the 25th and the 2nd of May, which is quite interesting here. Temperature-wise, the CFS is firmly shown above average, but let's have a quick look at the overview chart here before I finish the video. Let's have a quick look at snow depth, actually, and we'll play through the loop and see what it's shown for the upcoming weekend and in the next week here. So this is off the GFS, is pointing out some snow over the high grounds, as you can see here, especially towards the middle portion of next week. Let's have a look at the 850 temperatures here and see what it's showing. We'll skip back to the current setup here. Let's have a look at the Europe and North Atlantic view, running quickly out of time. So you can see here that, of course, that cooler riding underneath that area of high pressure going to make it for a fairly chilly week. Then in comes that cold air mass from the north that's going to bring a distinctly chilly start the next week here. We could see widespread temperatures struggling to get much above the 10 Celsius level overnight. We could see some fairly hard frost away from towns and cities as well. So that's it for now. I do appreciate your view as always. Drop a comment in the section below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again hopefully tomorrow with more. Bye for now.